that has made it to global headlines here as well. In a stern decision, in a significant development there by the United States of America, in deciding to drop the GBU-43, or what is popularly known as the MOAB, literally the mother of all bombs. This has been unused, has been used for the first time after having been tested way back in the year 2003, has now been used by the United States just last evening on an ISIS target in Afghanistan. The bomb that was dropped at 7 p.m. local time in Afghanistan is the biggest non-nuclear bomb. It explodes mid-air to cause maximum damage on a large radius. It's the first time that this bomb has been used in battle. Updates coming in as far as India is concerned, with the family of one of 21 missing Kerala youth who had allegedly gone ahead and joined the ISIS here, says that Murshid, who is a Kerala ISIS suspect, has died in this attack yesterday. Also, more updates coming in a total of 36 ISIS operatives reported dead after this attack.
We are so proud of our military, and it was another successful event. We have the greatest military in the world, and they've done a job as usual. So we have given them total authorization, and that's what they're doing. And frankly, that's why they've been so successful lately. If you look at what's happened over the last 8 weeks and compare that really to what's happened over the last 8 years, you'll see there's a tremendous difference, So we have incredible leaders in the military, and we have incredible military, and we are very proud of them, and this was another very, very successful mission.
I can't say that this was an immediate outcome of any conversations we had with the Afghan government. I think it's part of our ongoing efforts to take the fight to the Taliban, to take the fight to ISIS affiliates that are operating in that territory, Al-Qaeda affiliates that are operating on Afghan soil, and that's going to continue. You spoke about Pakistan and their role in this. We've been very clear. While we understand that Pakistan has made efforts to confront terrorism and terrorist organizations on its own soil, that there are still what we call safe havens that exist for terrorist groups to operate from and carry strikes out on Afghanistan. That's a problem. Again, it's in Pakistan's interest to work constructively with Afghanistan to address those security concerns.
Around 7 p.m. local time in Afghanistan last night, the United States military used a GBU-43 weapon in Afghanistan. The GBU-43 is a large, powerful, and accurately delivered weapon. We targeted a system of tunnels and caves that ISIS fighters used to move around freely, making it easier for them to target U.S. military advisors and Afghan forces in the area. The United States takes the fight against ISIS very seriously, and in order to defeat the group, we must deny them operational space, which we did. The United States took all precautions necessary to prevent civilian casualties and collateral damage as a result of the operation.
The United States wanted to test a new weapon, which have already tested in U.S., and now they are testing it again in Afghanistan. There is also another message, to the political message and military message to the North Korean, to the Iranian, to the Russians, that the Americans are going to use, even to the Chinese actually, that the Americans are going to use the new generations of weapons to achieve its objectives.
And here's an update on this attack. Breaking inputs here coming in the reports that we're getting in so far. Afghan officials here confirming this, that 36 ISIS operatives, ISIS terrorists have been killed in this strike by the United States. Remember, United States, of course, justifying and going ahead with this attack, and also for the first time using the MOAB, saying that the ISIS operative tunnels in the Afpak region had to be destroyed, and 36 fatalities coming in. We have with us our assistant editor Ashish Singh getting us further inputs here on this. Ashish, here's the update. 36 reported dead in this attack so far. Is this the maximum impact that the US was really expecting?
Well, sir, this basically is just building upon and kind of justify to the entire world what was the purpose of using the biggest non-nuclear bomb that world has ever seen, at least in combat areas. Basically, they're just putting out the facts in front of the world that 36 Islamic State terrorists have been killed in the US mother-of-all bomb strike that took place yesterday, around 15 hours ago in Afghanistan. Now, there is another aspect that a lot of international community diplomats were asking is the civilian casualty. That is something that has not been mentioned. We know that it's a 2,100 pound bomb that has radius of around 1 mile. The blast wave radius goes up to 1 mile. It's a little difficult to explain for the U.S. to what exactly is the area and what was the precautions that were taken to ensure that there is no civilian casualty. The civilian numbers have not been made public as yet, but U.S. basically just taking a step forward to justify to the entire world and in Afghanistan as well that this is the result of the decision that was taken by the U.S. forces for the yesterday's usage of bomb.
Okay, so that being the update there, of course, in the U.S. in continuing to justify that attack as well. Ashish, what really has been the global reaction here to this? Of course, one standalone condemnation there that is coming from Afghanistan itself. The former President Hamid Karzai slamming this, saying that this is a misuse of Afghan territory only to test your weapons. But globally, is this really being seen as a decision that would have a positive impact on the war against ISIS?
She said there have been mixed response from across the world leaders. For example, as you mentioned, Hamid Karzai, the former Afghan president, mentioned that this is just the usage of Afghanistan soil to test the big U.S. military weapons. We have heard from the North Korea Vice Foreign Minister as well, and also from the other world powers, although China has not reacted in a very direct and clear manner as yet, and that's what the entire world is waiting for. But there are two ways of looking at it. One, the world leaders are not only just looking at this decision by the U.S. government of in the line and the perspective of ISIS. What they are also emphasizing are on the U.S. Donald Trump trying to reassert and redefine the dominance of United States of America across the world. And that is what are the two aspects that how the world leaders are looking at.
Okay, so that's how, of course, the world is viewing this. Remember, waking up this morning to this attack, the attack, of course, that was executed by the U.S. last evening, saying that this would have the maximum impact on ISIS operative tunnels that have existed there in the Afpak region. In a press statement from the Pentagon as well, which justified the use of the MOAB. Ashish, would this also being seen as, many of course are looking at this as a strategic shift of the United States, but is that really the matter, or is it just a question of using a new weapon in the same area?
See, Donald Trump regime has clearly sent out a strong message, not only for the ISIS, but also for the entire world, that they would not hesitate in using the biggest of the weapons in the entire U.S. arsenal. I would like to, at this point of time, inform our U.S. that this is not the biggest bomb that U.S. has, non-nuclear, I mean. There are a couple of bombs which has more capacity, larger in size, almost 10 times bigger than what is being used.
Okay.
This particular bomb was being used was being developed in 2000 and was first tested successfully in March 2003.
Yes.
So there is a message that Donald Trump, both for the U.S. citizens and for the international community, that he's trying to send. And there are multiple aspects of this particular message. The target, as I mentioned, the target of this message is U.S. citizens as well, and also the international community. But the aspects of the message has multiple, there are various aspects like how U.S. is taking terror head on. Okay. And the other message that U.S. is trying to convey to the entire world community is that U.S. will not hesitate in using the big weapons.
That's right, not hesitate if need be, if the situation there requires to do so. Please stay on with us, Ashish. We're getting in further reactions on this.
Via this attack, very clear messages being sent by Trump administration that A, there will be no compromise as far as ISI is concerned. Secondly, they also signaling to China and to North Korea that this administration of Trump would stand no nonsense from North Korea either. An equal message is being sent to Pakistan to get after the Haqqani group.
They have been fighting with Al-Qaeda, Taliban, and now ISIS, but all of them are there, for the last so many years, They are still there. They have not been able to defeat. So this bombing, I'm sure, will not help solve the problem.
America, as you know, has its own interests. Earlier it was thought that America would be withdrawing out its forces and therefore leaving space for the Taliban and ISIS and others to come in. But with the dropping of this bomb and firing of the Tomahawk missiles, it shows that America has now changed its strategy. Instead of sending troops on ground, it is going to use these sorts of aerial bombardments.
While the United States and President Trump have definitely shown the equivalent of military muscle, one question that often remains is, what is the political objective of any given military initiative, whether it is a cruise missile in Syria or in this case the use of this massive ordnance? Because the United States has been dealing with a war against terror now since 2001. So questions will be asked. Already, former Afghan President Hamid Karzai has condemned the use of such ordnance.